Lepore, if you were the Leafs, would you consider signing Evander Kane?
No, that's my pause, my long pause. No, I don't think I would. I mean, I assume it'd be like league min, but why? I mean, for us, do you think is that what we need?
The
I'll
Leafs
put it
aren't as
that way.
desperate.
Yeah, it's not even about like the desperate. I'm saying just from the pure hockey standpoint. And I think too, even it just being Toronto, like I mentioned, how like guys having to answer the question in the locker room and just added attention. If something does happen, it could fall apart for any team. It could really fall apart for Toronto if things don't go well or if there's some sort of drama. So if I was the Leafs, I would avoid it. I would. What do you think? Would you give Evander Kane a shot with the blue and white?
Well, I just said a minute ago that he would be an incredible fit on all 32 teams, and I
But
completely
hockey wise,
stand by that. But I think at this point, based on where the Leafs are, they're comfortably in a playoff spot. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. They're already a really good offensive team. And as much as I think Evander Kane would help this team, I don't think it's worth the risk for them. And I don't think it's worth the risk for some of the other teams, like, for example, like Florida, right? Or even Tampa for that matter, right? And I mean, again, you could make the case that, he would make any team better. You immediately slot him into your top six. He can play on the power play. But I think at this point, from a Leafs perspective and how they're currently built, and again, we don't know the inner workings of the dressing room and the leadership group and how strong that is with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But where they are right now, I don't think it's worth the risk bringing in a guy like that with that much baggage who could cause problems in, the media mecca of the hockey world. That could be a very explosive situation if you bring in Evander Kane.
You know what? No, let's play a little game here. I'll throw out a team and you say whether you think it'd be a good idea to add Evander Kane. Okay.
Let's do it.
Colorado.
No.
Really?
Because again, I think it's the same thing with the Leafs, right? I mean, I think we both agree they're the best team in the NHL.
Yeah.
Colorado.
But I think because of that, and like I'm trying to get inside people's heads here, but I think because Colorado is so good, I'm not saying for sure this would happen, but if there's any team or any sort of situation where he'd stay in check and all the right things would be done, and it's not the most media driven market, it might be there, or a team like that. Like, I hate to say like, oh, I think he'd behave there, but I just kind of think that he would do his best. Like, at the end of the day, he'd know his opportunity. I think he'd be crazy not to be aware of the opportunity he's been given. So it may work out. So that's why I threw Colorado out there. How about say so? Say like a Florida, a Carolina, those teams, you'd say no, don't do it.
You know what? If you want to play the media angle and say, it'd be better if he joined a team that doesn't have a large media presence, he can kind of fly under the radar, then maybe joining one of the Florida teams isn't a bad idea. But again,
if he joins Tampa, oh my God,
then I'm going to cry.
Oh, because that will be everything that I just said. That team will keep him in check and he'll be totally aware of his opportunity and everything will go well.
Oh yeah.
100%.
If there's a team that has the leadership group, it's Tampa, a team that's won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Everyone knows their roles. John Cooper keeps everybody in check. The players have a ton of respect for him. Yeah, I don't think Evander Kane would stroll into that situation and blow it all up. So that could be a team that could handle a guy like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas maybe Florida, who, as much as everyone's talking about how great Florida is, they haven't done shit. They haven't won a playoff series in 25 years. They're in the same boat as the Leafs. So that's a team that's taking a risk as well. And again, we do not know the inner workings of all these leadership groups around the NHL. I'm not going to sit here and say the Florida Panthers have the strongest leadership group with Barkov and Huberdeau, and I don't know what's going on in that dressing room. But from an outside perspective, just bringing in a guy, again, with that much baggage that could be that explosive and screw up the chemistry of your team, I just think if you're a good team and you're a team that's sitting comfortably, in a top 5 to 7 spot in the league right now, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Okay. It's fair enough. But again, we hope it does happen because we hope there's something to talk about. It'll be fun. Come on, Edmonton.
Especially Edmonton.
Yeah.
And you know what? Evander Kane's not an idiot. He knows that playing with Connor McDavid would be the best thing possible for him to rehabilitate his image, to have another big season, even though it's only going to be half a season because he's missed the first 35, 40 games. But can you imagine this dude plays 40 games with Connor McDavid and puts up, 55 points
in 40 games?
I mean,
wow,
it's possible. Bruno. He's never played with a player that good.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying,
I'll put it this way.
Let's say that's like the best case scenario. But if let's say he puts up a point a game, scores 20 goals in 40 games.
I was gonna say even like 35 points in 40 games. That's great. Like that could lead to him getting another shot elsewhere next year.
Exactly. And so that's why I think I would almost, I don't want to guarantee it, but he's probably been in touch with Connor McDavid. I mean, you would assume that they've been communicating. He's probably been communicating with some of the guys that he knows around the league. There's got to be guys that are secretly trying to recruit him.
Yeah, to be fair, right? To be fair, and I always say this or assume this, I'm sure once that idea popped up in Edmonton Oilers management, it's run by McDavid.
100%.
So to that point, yeah, McDavid, if it happens, McDavid wants it to happen. If he didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. I assume he's that kind of authority with the Edmonton Oilers.
And it's like you said, Lepore, based on the way he answered that question at the press conference, the thing that he was getting ripped on social media for, how they're like, oh, McDavid doesn't care about, Evander Kane and the terrible things that he's done, and he just cares about hockey. The way that McDavid answered that question tells me that he's been talking to Ken Holland and probably Evander Kane himself, and that it's almost a done deal.
Yeah.
That dude is signing with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, he got right into the defensive mode. So, yeah.
Yeah, something's brewing. And who knows, maybe by the time we release this podcast, Evander Kane is going to be signed on one of the 32 teams in the National Hockey League. But we will see what happens. It's like you said, man, we're just hoping for some fireworks.
Come on, Edmonton. Come on.